Knowledge is power. But knowledge is most powerful when you share it. If you are the keeper of knowledge and you're holding it and keeping it all to yourself and you're like, well, I can't tell them everything I know because if I tell them everything I know, then they're going to maybe know more than me. Oh no. Oh no, they might know more than me. Oh God, give yourself a break. You are not omnipotent. None of us are omnipotent in these bodies. It's impossible. These bodies don't have the capacity to be omnipotent. These bodies, the physical manifestation of your soul, does not have the capacity for you to be omnipotent. It's like trying to put all the gas in the world into your car tank. Like it can only hold so much. These bodies, these physical manifestations of our souls can only hold so much. So it's about sharing the knowledge. And it's about releasing your fears of what it means to maybe not know something that other people know. Welcome to the Weekly Transit, your guide to understanding the current planetary and astral alignments. Together, we'll explore how to harness these cosmic frequencies, empowering you to reach your highest potential as you navigate the days ahead. I'm your host, Scott Tajarian. Welcome to the Weekly Transit. This is the week of December 9th to the 15th. Thank you for being here. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing as you're listening to this podcast, I just want you to know how grateful I am to be here with you, to have this opportunity to share knowledge of the planets and stars with the hope of giving you the clarity, peace, calm, and empowerment that you need, that you deserve to help you navigate the week. This week, the theme is illuminating clarity and expanding vision. Illuminating clarity and expanding vision as we highlight the full moon in Gemini and the end of Mercury retrograde, Mercury direct in Sagittarius. So yay! Mercury retrograde ends at the end of this week, but we've still got the shadow period. So we'll get into what that all means in this episode. But before we do, I have a quick announcement. I can finally officially say that my episode, the interview with Ingrid, the long-awaited interview with Ingrid is finally here. It took me a little bit longer than I expected it to edit the podcast. It was a little more challenging for me, not to get into the details of it all, but it was a labor of love because I really enjoyed the conversation that I had with Ingrid and Karina, who is her new co-host of their podcast, Naked and Ambitious. It's a really fun conversation, lots of laughs, lots of insight into Ingrid's world of exotic dancing, stripping. So I really encourage you to listen to it, and I encourage you to check out her podcast with Karina, Naked and Ambitious. As with everything Ingrid does, if you've been listening to this podcast since I was doing it with Ingrid, you know, like she works so hard to create just the top-notch quality of whatever it is she's putting out there. You know, she's a Virgo, so she's got that perfectionist vibe. And Naked and Ambitious, the music, the production value, the voiceover, the visuals. It is all first class, very professional. Ingrid is amazingly talented in producing a podcast. So check out Naked and Ambitious. I will have the links to that in the episode that I'm releasing later this week, the interview with Ingrid and Karina. So if you're not already following the weekly transit on whatever platform you are listening in on, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, give us a follow, hit that little bell, that reminder, so that when we do release the episode with Ingrid, you will be alerted. I'm going to be coming out with more interviews that have to do with astrology, but not necessarily astrology, that interviews of people from an astrological lens, from an astrological perspective. I had so much fun interviewing Ingrid, and she gave me the best compliment after I sent her the edited version of our conversation. She's like, "You're such a great interviewer." And I love that because I'm so interested in learning about people. That is one of the main reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing as an astrologer, because I love meeting with people. I love learning about people. I love learning not only about their astrological codes, but about who they are as individuals, and to be able to see how that is reflected through their astrological code is really exciting and inspiring to me. So I hope to bring that element to this podcast as I'm interviewing people and sharing that with you from an astrological perspective. After the interview with Ingrid and Karina, I have another episode with Delisa Hawking. Many of you know her because I've collaborated with her several times on her channel, on her YouTube channel. But in our conversations on her YouTube channel, we're not talking about her. We're talking about where the planets are and predictions and that sort of stuff. And the interviews that I want to do on this podcast are going to be about the people, as well as getting into deeper areas of astrology, but also just learning about people and understanding how their astrological code is reflecting them in their reality. So, thank you again for being here. Let's get into the week. The week of December 9th to the 15th, illuminating clarity and expanding vision, highlighting the full moon in Gemini and Mercury direct in Sagittarius. But before we get to those two transits, which happen at the end of the week, what do we have leading up to the full moon and Mercury direct? So Mercury going direct, that means that Mercury's gonna be stuck. It's not going to be moving all week. It's basically sitting at the same degree from this week all the way into next week. So slow down. Take your time. I mean, I want to hear from you. Like drop a note in the comments wherever you're listening, Spotify, YouTube. How has this past week been for you? For me, there was a lot of tension, especially on Tuesday. Was a really kind of tense day. Just so much going on, and like not enough time in the day. And yes, so I'm human too, and these transits affect me as well. So I'm curious to hear how it's been affecting you, but I just had to keep reminding myself, slow down. Take your time, Scott. Show yourself some grace. Be compassionate with yourself. Don't call yourself an idiot. You're dumb. How could you do this? I hate you. Let's take it easy on yourself. Just like you tell your clients to do. Take it easy on these hard days. On the hard days, take it easy. On the easy days, work hard. So I'm curious to hear from you. How has this retrograde been for you? What experiences are you having? Are you having great experiences? My experiences haven't necessarily been bad. There's just been some challenging experiences. I feel very blessed, very abundant, very empowered. But yeah, there were just some things that came out of left field. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did this. Oh, I'm so frustrated. So curious to hear from you. What are the highs and lows that you're experiencing through this retrograde? Now, the first transit of the week involves Venus, which is transiting through Aquarius, and it's aligning with the North Node retrograde in Aries. Venus, Lady Luck, the goddess of love and beauty, the planet of relationships, transiting through Aquarius, where it transited in at the end of last week. The fixed air sign symbolized by the water bearer. The North Node, the soul's purpose, the karmic pathway of the soul, transiting at the final degrees that it's transiting through Aries, the cardinal fire sign symbolized by the ram. This is occurring from Sunday to Wednesday, December 8th to the 11th, with the exact sextile occurring on Monday, December 9th. So the week begins with an opening. If you listened to the podcast last week, you heard us talk about Venus in Aquarius, meaning opening yourself up. Opening yourself up to the community, creating that detachment from individual partnerships and broadening your spectrum. Creating independence for yourself. Not everyone can play every role you want somebody to play in your life. Everybody has their own unique role. And sometimes we might try to pigeonhole onto one person. It's usually a romantic partner, but it can be a business partner or a best friend where you want that person to be your everything. You want them to be your everything. This is my everything person. And that's just not realistic. I mean, I'm not saying, maybe it's out there. Maybe it's out there. Don't get mad at me if that's you. Well, I'm with somebody and they're my everything. Good for you. Yes, I'm so happy for you. But for most people, we can't check every box. We have our specialties. Like it always kind of freaks me out when there's a restaurant in my neighborhood I've never been to before, and I'm never going to go to because of what the signs say outside of this restaurant, where it's like American food, Italian food, Mexican food, it's like, what? It might even say Chinese food on there. It's like everything on under the sun, every type of food they got at this one tiny little restaurant. And I'm like, no, I don't think I'm going to eat there because, they probably don't do anything all that great. It might be okay, but it's not going to be the best burger you've ever had. It's not going to be the best lasagna you've ever had. It's not going to be the best chow mein you've ever had or the best burrito you've ever had. Because they don't have a specialty. There's another restaurant in my neighborhood that's has a Michelin star, a sushi restaurant. Yeah, I've been there lots of times because they do sushi amazing. So, this is all to say that Venus transiting through Aquarius, aligning with the North Node in Aries, is what is your specialty? What is it that you bring to the relationship that nobody else does? For me, I'm that intuitive. I'm the guide. I'm the astrologer. The person that's going to help give the individual that I'm connecting to clarity about themselves that they can only get through me. I'm not going to be a lot of other things. I don't know what those other things would be, but I'm not your go-to for everything. And none of us really are. We have our specialty. So the Aries frequency, the North Node transiting through Aries at these final degrees, because next year it's going to transit into Pisces, the beginning of next year. So December into January, these next few weeks, we really want to come to that determination of who am I? Who am I? So who are you? Who are you? What is your answer when somebody asks you that? Or when you ask yourself, who am I? When I ask myself, who am I am the guide. Somebody who supports other people navigate their way through life. That's who I am. Who are you? And then when you think of Venus transiting through Aquarius, once you know who you are, then you know what you bring to the group. And it's about understanding how to bring what you bring to the group. Like what's coming up is, I think about when I first became super interested and passionate in astrology, and I was sharing that with my friends, specifically some of my college friends that I was in a fraternity with. They thought I needed mental help. They thought something was wrong with me. And then cut to last April, they were inviting me to speak at our annual fraternity dinner about astrology. So what I learned from that experience is sometimes who I am needs to be adjusted or tempered in some way in terms of to be appropriate for the group. To be appropriate for the group. So what are the groups that you're a part of, that you're involved in? And how do you fit into those groups? Every group is a little bit different. And so you are going to be a little bit different. See, the funny thing about my fraternity is long before I was the astrologer, Scott, I was the guide. Nobody in my fraternity called me the guide, but when I was in college, I was always the person that people would come to when they were in a moment of crisis. They didn't have clarity about a certain issue in their life. They would come and talk to me, because when they would talk to me, they would get that clarity and they'd feel better and they would know what they needed to do. So I was always doing what I do now. I just wasn't doing it with astrology. Now with astrology, I can actually show people how I know what I know. It's not just like my psychic intuition. I can show you by looking at your astrological code. So I had to learn to temper myself in certain situations, and I couldn't come in strong with like, I'm Scott, I'm the astrologer. Like that's what a lot of people that come to me, that I do readings for, that I work with weekly or regularly, they're really excited about astrology. And when you're really excited about astrology or anything, you know, I see this a lot in religion. It's like, I've found Jesus. I need to tell everybody. And not everyone's ready to hear the message. You know, Aquarius is the coolest sign. It's the coolest sign. It's chill. So Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius, we need to kind of pull back a little bit. Let's chill out, man. Let's chill out. We don't have to come really hard at somebody about whatever it is we're into. We can just take the essence of what we're into and bring that into the group. And then the group can decide if they like that essence. They like that ingredient. And if they do and they're into it, then they invite you to share more, to get deeper, to become more passionate. You think about the North Node in Aries, if you know who you are, then you can be chill in the group. See, when I was first learning about astrology, it's like, everybody needs to know this. I got to tell everybody. And everyone's like, no, what's wrong with you? The thing is at that time, I didn't really know myself. Because I had this new information, and this new information was shifting the frequency of who I was. It was shifting the frequency of who I was. And so I didn't really know who I was at the time. And because of that, I took that childlike experience and I was so excited. I wanted to beat down everyone's door and say, I have the answers. Listen to me. But now that I have greater clarity about who I am, through that new information of understanding astrology, I'm able to temper myself now. And I'm able to be more chill in groups that aren't necessarily interested in astrology. I still have work to do there. I won't lie. But I'll say that, having this podcast and having you listening here really is like such a great outlet for me. So again, thank you. But what is that for you? Who are you? What are the groups that you're a part of? What are you bringing to those groups? Are you tempering yourself? And what can you do to temper yourself more, to be more chill? To create the space for others to share what they have to share. And let's have a group conversation and figure out, how we can kind of work together or not. Find another group. Around this same time, the early part of the week, is the sun aligning with Chiron. The sun in Sagittarius aligning with Chiron retrograde in Aries. The sun is the giver of light, life, and vitality. Wherever the sun goes, it brings light, life, and vitality. And for the last 19 days, the sun is bringing its light, life, and vitality through the mutable fire sign, symbolized by the archer, Sagittarius, aligning in a supportive trine with Chiron, the wound and the ancient wisdom which is unlocked through healing that wound. Chiron is the centaur. Sagittarius is the sign that is symbolized by the centaur. The archer is the centaur, half man, half horse. Chiron is transiting retrograde through the cardinal fire sign of Aries, symbolized by the ram, at 19 degrees. Chiron has been sitting at 19 degrees for weeks and weeks, is going to be sitting at 19 degrees for several more weeks, because this is where Chiron is going to end its retrograde transit. Not yet. Doesn't happen as quickly as Mercury. So when Chiron ends its retrograde, it stays at 1 degree, not for a week, but for months. For several weeks. So I really encourage you to look at your astrological code. What is in fire or air signs at 19 degrees or 18 or 20, 17, 21? Whatever is there in your astrological code is going through a period of healing. Because Chiron transiting through Aries is urging us to face our fears and insecurities and heal those fears and insecurities by cultivating the courage to face those fears and insecurities authentically, in a way that's authentic to who we are. That this is who I am. This is who I am. This transit is occurring from Sunday to Thursday, December 8th to the 12th, with the exact trine occurring on Tuesday, December 10th. So as Venus aligns with the North Node, the Sun aligns with Chiron. These two aspects are in concert with each other. They're supporting one another. They're invigorating us to really just show up, to show out. This is who I am. This is how I think. This is my philosophical truth. But to do it in a way that's chill and say, "What's yours?" Yeah. This is how I see things. How do you see things? Because remember, that low frequency of Sagittarius is the know-it-all. We don't want to be the know-it-all. We want to be the philosopher. And the philosopher, in their highest frequency, understands that they can learn from their pupils. That's why I'm really excited to really begin this interviewing process with the weekly transit, because I'm going to be having on people that I've worked with for months, for years, that aspire to be astrologers and are now astrologers that I learn from. When I'm working with them, when they're in a moon cycle class, they say something, I'm like, "Oh, yeah. Listen to what she said right there. That's some wisdom right there." Knowledge is power. But knowledge is most powerful when you share it. If you are the keeper of knowledge and you're holding it and keeping it all to yourself, and you're like, "Well, I can't tell them everything I know, because if I tell them everything I know, then they're going to maybe know more than me." Oh no. Oh no, they might know more than me. Oh God, give yourself a break. You are not omnipotent. None of us are omnipotent in these bodies. It's impossible. These bodies don't have the capacity to be omnipotent. These bodies, the physical manifestation of your soul, does not have the capacity for you to be omnipotent. It's like trying to put all the gas in the world into your car tank. Like, it can only hold so much. These bodies, these physical manifestations of our souls, can only hold so much. So it's about sharing the knowledge. And it's about releasing your fears of what it means to maybe not know something that other people know. Releasing your fears in the thought that you might actually have something more to learn. So speak up, speak out, share your truth, share the knowledge, but sharing also comes with receiving. Be open to hearing the wisdom that others have to share with you. When you know that someone is learning from you, it's empowering. So if you're learning from someone else, you're empowering them. And this Aquarius frequency, Venus in Aquarius, is about empowering each other, empowering the group. I've been thinking a lot about music. I always do. I'm a moon in Pisces, so music's my thing. But think about a band. Does Mick Jagger need to play the guitar and the drums? No, he's doing enough, doing his thing, dancing and singing. You have your knowledge, I have my knowledge. And when we're both sharing our knowledge in that highest frequency, where we're listening and learning, and through learning, getting more ideas, expanding our awareness, and then sharing more from our perspective, then we're the Rolling Stones. We're a band that's making music, that's iconic, and that people want to listen to. The next transit involves Venus, as Venus opposes Mars. Mars began its retrograde transit on December 6th. And so Mars is moving retrograde through Leo, while Venus is transiting direct through Aquarius. Leo and Aquarius are opposite each other. They're both fixed. Leo's fire, Aquarius is air. Fire signs are always opposite air signs, just as earth signs are always opposite water signs. Fixed signs are always opposite fixed signs, mutable opposite mutable, cardinal opposite cardinal. Just a little quick astrology lesson in case you already don't know. But Venus opposing Mars. This is going to bring about some tension in relationships. This is occurring all week, Monday through Friday, with the exact opposition occurring Thursday, December 12th. So there's these supportive aspects earlier in the week with Venus in the North Node, the Sun, and Chiron. And it sort of culminates with some tension as we get into the latter part of the week. And this is building with Mercury stopping. Mercury not moving anywhere because it's about to move direct. So whatever tension's coming up in your close personal relationships, slow down. Take your time. I've really got to thank Gabriella because my partner, she is so great at slowing down and helping me slow down so that when there's tension between us, it's like, okay, let's take a pause here and figure out what's going on. So Mars transiting through Leo is invigorating your heart center. It's giving you the courage to act boldly. The opposition to Venus is going to give you the courage to act boldly in your relationships, which may be creating the detachment that you need from your lover, your friend, your business partner. It doesn't mean that it's a breakup, but it's like, hey, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go to the movies. I'm going to go hang out with a friend for the day. Sometimes we need that detachment from one another so that we can recenter ourselves. You may be expressing yourself boldly through your actions within the group dynamics, the group construct. Or others within the group may also be acting very boldly. Or relationships that you're in, partners that you have may be acting boldly. So that's what creates the conflict and tension, is like, I'm acting boldly, they're acting boldly. Okay, this is bringing something to the surface. It's popping the zit. It's releasing the tension. But in order to do it, we really need to slow down. Slow down. Let's not react. Let's give ourselves a beat to respond, to process, to think about, who am I? Who am I, and who do I want to be in this moment? Because it's the moments where maybe we did react without a bit of patience are the moments that we regret. Because we reacted out of anger. So let's slow down. We react out of anger because we want to move out of this discomfort. Venus opposing Mars could create some discomfort. And because we don't like discomfort, we want to be living our Instagram best lives. We react hastily in a way that creates regret. So this is a prayer to slow down, to be patient through the discomfort, to be willing to receive the bold-hearted actions of those that we're connected to be able to take them in fully, open-heartedly, and then to respond boldly and courageously from our own self of empowerment, our own sense of self-empowerment that is respectful to the other or others. Mercury, as it slows to a halt at 6 degrees where the retrograde ends, it aligns in sextile to Venus in Aquarius. So you see the themes here. We've got Venus through 3 transits. Venus aligns with the North Node, then Mars, then Mercury. This is illuminating the clarity and expanding the vision through the Sagittarius frequency of expansion. Mercury, mental clarity. Mercury's retrograde sextile with Venus in Aquarius occurs from December 11th to the 13th, Wednesday to Friday. So the same time that Venus is opposing Mars, it's aligning with Mercury. The exact sextile is Thursday, December 12th, the same day that Venus opposes Mars. A little bit later in the day, but it's there. So maybe we feel that tension. We've taken a pause. We've expanded our vision. Clarity has been illuminated, and now we can speak our truth from a place that's logical as opposed to overly passionate. We want to stick to the facts here. So let's tone it down and hone in on the facts so that we can be logical about the clarity of our self-expression and how we've received the clarity of someone else's self-expression. Hopefully, this brings us the conversational fluidity that we need in order to bring peace to our relationships, our personal relationships, and our relationship to the group dynamic. Hopefully we are being heard because we too are listening. And that leads us to the full moon, which happens on Saturday, December 14th. If you are where I am on the West Coast, because it's at 11:13 p.m. on Saturday night. So if you're in a different time zone, it's happening on Sunday the 15th. So check what is your time zone in relation to 11:13 p.m. Pacific time on December 14th. That's when the full moon's going to be at its full apex, 23 degrees Gemini, aligning with 10 fixed stars. This is going to be a doozy, a powerful full moon. Full moon and Mercury retrograde ending at the same time. Woo! Yeah! Release! Oh, I can feel it. I can feel this release already coming on. I can feel it like building right now. And I'm looking forward to it. So, I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty details, the weeds of these 10 fixed stars. If you want to get into the nitty-gritty weeds of the fixed stars and all the nuances of the full moon, the new moon, I encourage you to enroll in my moon cycle classes at theweeklytransit.com. Classes are going to begin already next week. On the 18th, I think, is the first class. A little sooner than I would normally do just because the holiday. And I typically have classes on Wednesdays, and we've got Christmas and New Year's Day on 2 Wednesdays in a row. So I'm like, I'm not going to do it on those days because people are probably not going to be in the class on those days. So we're doing the first class on the 18th, that Wednesday. So enroll, where we're going to cover the new moon in Capricorn and the full moon in Cancer. It's going to be the second new moon of 2024 in Capricorn. Now, back to this full moon in Gemini. So remembering, the full moon is a time to release. It's the exhale. The new moon is the inhale. The full moon is the exhale. So what are we releasing during this full moon? Well, Gemini is the mutable air sign, symbolized by the twins and ruled by Mercury. Mercury retrograde is ending right around the same time as the full moon in Gemini is occurring. That's an interesting synchronicity. So this is where the illumination of mental clarity comes into play. The twins. Gemini is the twins, so you want to reflect upon duality. The yin and the yang, the up and the down, the in and the out, the light and the shadow. Where are you experiencing duality in your life? Gemini being ruled by Mercury, Mercury is the planet of the mind. It's a circle of spirit on top of a cross of matter with a crescent of receptivity on top. It's like 2 antennas. Sending and receiving information, sharing the knowledge. So it's about seeking knowledge, but also releasing outdated mental constructs. Where are you stuck in a mental loop? Like sometimes I think that we're like robots. We are like the most advanced technology that exists on this planet. And sometimes we get caught in a mental glitch that is holding you back from expanding your awareness, expanding your vision, because you're just looking at that one thing over and over and over, and you're like a broken record, and you have nothing left to say. You're being called to grow, to expand. So release those mental glitches, those outdated mental constructs that are holding you back from receiving knowledge, expanding your awareness. It's about embracing flexibility and adaptability in order to maintain your focus on the long-term goals. Because sometimes in order to get to a goal, you've got to get out of that mental glitch. This full moon is about releasing mental clutter, indecision, scattered thoughts. These are the glitches. The glitches are the mental clutter, the indecision, the scattered thoughts. Confusion around lack of direction. Those are the glitches. The glitch is I can't decide. This way, that way, I don't know. Oh no, that's the glitch. Make a decision. Release the indecision. Embrace clarity and precision. The precision is I choose this, and I accept the consequences of that choice. And even if it doesn't work out the way that I hoped or wanted, I learned something from this, and I'll file away that knowledge, which will help me grow and expand so that I don't fall into those same trappings as I did before. Release disorganization. That's that scattered like Gemini, like, oh, I'm going to do this. Wait, no, I'm going to do that. No, wait, over there. 10 different projects going on at once and pulling your hair out. We want to release those frequencies. Releasing lingering unfinished projects. Oh, the unfinished projects. That's the end of Mercury retrograde as well. Speaking of unfinished projects, it just makes me think of the uncharted territories. My other podcast was Share a Profit, which I am so excited to release. Shara and I both have Taurus in the triad, so we're really slow. And Shara finally got back to me after listening to, I think, 4 episodes that I edited. And she loved them, which, just fueled me. She was very happy with it, and I'm so excited by it. I've got 5 more to edit. I'm going to start working on those again during this retrograde. Hopefully get them done before the retrograde. No promises. Maybe before the retrograde shadow. But yes, that's what this full moon is about, is releasing these unfinished projects. To share the knowledge That's what I'm most excited about with the uncharted territories, is sharing the knowledge. When I get to share the knowledge with Shara Prophet, what a gift. What a gift. That is a woman of immense wisdom. And I'm so honored to work with her. Wow. I'm going to bring her on for an interview for the weekly transit to promote the uncharted territories whenever we release them. And we'll get into her story, just like we did with the Lisa coming up, which hasn't been released yet. But I mean, I find these individuals so fascinating. And so I hope you will too. Oh, this full moon. What else can we release with these? Yes, so outdated mental patterns. I'm just looking at my notes here. Yeah, okay. I think we covered it all with the full moon. Yeah. Outdated structures, outdated beliefs, whatever fears are holding you back from the next adventure. Remembering that the full moon is opposite the sun. And so if the full moon is in Gemini, that means the sun is, in Sagittarius. And what's Sagittarius about? Adventure, exploration. If you're in that mental glitch, then you can't go on the adventure. You can't learn anything new. You can't see things from a different perspective. So release that mental glitch during the full moon in Gemini. And that leads us to our final transit. Mercury direct in Sagittarius at 6 degrees and 23 minutes. Exactly where it was on November 7th. On Sunday, December 15th. Sunday, December 15th, Mercury will be exactly where it was on November 7th. So think back. What was going on in your life on November 7th? How much have you accomplished between November 7th and December 15th? Hopefully, you followed our recommendation and didn't add anything new to your plate, and focused on everything that was on your plate so that you could clear off what was on your plate and set yourself up for that next adventure, which is coming after Mercury moves out of its retrograde shadow on January 2nd. January 2nd, Mercury will be exactly where it was on November 25th. So I'm curious to hear from you. What have you accomplished during this Mercury retrograde? Were you able to clear some food off your plate? And if not, that's okay, because we still have the retrograde shadow period. So really, I'm looking at January 2nd. Where do you want to be by January 2nd? What is on your plate right now? And what can you clear off? What can you complete by January 2nd? And in completing whatever it is you're completing, that completion will hopefully, the intention is for it to restore your faith. Faith in yourself, faith in the world, faith in the process of life. That's what I experienced in editing the podcast with Ingrid. Because I've learned so much about editing this last year since I parted ways with Ingrid. And so, of course, the episode that I did with Ingrid presented a whole new array of challenges for me as an editor. But because of the experiences that I've had over this last year, I didn't have that level of frustration that I had earlier in the year. I had faith that I would figure it out and that I would make it great. And the fact that Ingrid who has edited hundreds and hundreds of podcast episodes of the weekly transit, for her to watch that and say, oh my God, I loved how you edited this. It's so great. It's so great. From a Virgo? What? Oh my goodness. Faith gave me so much faith in my confidence and abilities to produce the podcast and to edit the podcast. So what is it that you want to complete during the rest of this Mercury retrograde shadow to clear off your plate that is going to give you greater faith in who you are, what you're doing, and in your process of life? I hope this is helpful to you. I hope this empowers you to navigate your way through the week in the best possible way. And I look forward to reconnecting with you next week. Thank you for listening to the Weekly Transit. If you're curious to learn how these transits or any other transits may be affecting you, or if you're interested in learning more about your astrological code, contact me for a reading at theweeklytransit.com. If you're interested in delving into the world of psychotherapy with Gabriella, you can schedule a consultation with her at GabriellaDurso.com. That's GabriellaDurso.com. Support for the podcast can be done through a monthly contribution on Spotify, rating us 5 stars, subscribing to our channel on YouTube, or writing a favorable review on Apple Podcasts. We are grateful for your support. This episode was produced by me, Scott Tajarian. Music written by Ben Leinbach from Listen Deep by Amber Herzog-Lyman. Wishing you all the best as you ride the planetary waves.